Oh, Danny boy, the pipes are calling from glen to glen and down the mountainside. The summer's gone and all the roses falling. It's you, must go and I must bide. But come ye back when summer's in the meadows, or when the valley's hushed and white with snow. I'll be here in sunshine or in shadows. Oh, Danny boy, I love you so. Well, that goes out to Roddy Pipper from one of the coldest places on earth, who had a very, very tough upbringing. I remember the first time I saw Roddy Pipper on Georgia Championship Wrestling, and they had brought him in to be a commentator. He hardly ever wrestled. He took forever to show him wrestled, and he would talk about how much a great, and he would constantly refer to Mr. Soley, Mr. Soley, Mr. Soley this, Mr. Soley that, and he'd wear these suit jackets, and he didn't look like some kind of just buff guy. He wasn't buff like, you know, like a Don Morocco at the time, or like some of the guys, and he wasn't as big as some of the guys, but he just had some kind of quality, and he could just talk, and he could irritate people. And he had a feud with Bob Armstrong when I was there, when I was watching that. He had a feud with Michael Hayes from the Freebirds, and he pretty much represented himself as a heel. But I remember at one point somebody did something to Mr. Soley, and he just jumped right to him, and he fought, and he protected Mr. Soley, and he was very protective. And he made a big, big impression on me at that time. And I followed him vaguely through his career. I certainly watched him during the period when he and Mr. T were having the feud, and Hulk Hogan and he were having the feud. And quite frankly, some of the stuff that they said at that time were very racist, and that was many years ago. And some of that stuff that done, and it was racist. I mean, Leroy Brown had said that Roddy had issues with that. But I don't care about none of that. I don't. I care about Roddy. He was a man. He had a heart. He stood up for stuff. His last month of his life, he was embroiled in a scandal with Steve Austin, because he accused Steve Austin of getting him in his grave. Steve Austin, this is according to Ric Flair, got Roddy Pipper fired from his podcast, and Roddy Pipper was none too happy about it. So I don't know about all that. I don't know. Steve's going to have to live with that if he did it. Because, Steve, you're no Roddy Pipper. I'm sorry. In my book. Of course, I know I'm older than Steve and I'm younger than Roddy, so I'm prejudiced, so please don't take offense. But there's only one Roddy Pipper. One Hot Rod. He's the greatest wrestler to never win a world championship. Period. There's nobody even close to him. He was a movie star. He made this movie with John Carpenter. Which is almost a cult classic, where he said to them, I'm here to chew some bubble gum and kick some ass, and I'm all out of bubble gum. One of the greatest lines in movie history. He was there. He had done an interview on the Alex Jones show where he had talked about some conspiracy theories, so he was involved in that. He was involved in a lot of things. He was just a great man. He loved his kids. In his last days, he was talking about his son and how his son was such a good fighter. The guy grew up in an orphanage in Saskatchewan, and on his interview with Steve Austin, it just breaks your heart, because he sounded like, you know, it was terrible that he grew up. I mean, the guy was only 61 years old, and he's gone. 61. I'm 54, so he's only 7 or 8 years older than me. Just a young guy. It just breaks my heart to see somebody that great be gone, and I miss him. I don't know him. I never saw him. I never My friend Mike Najimian saw him in Fresno and said he was a lot bigger than you'd think. His claim to fame was he's the only wrestler to ever get kicked all the way out of Japan. He could never go back to Japan. He caused so much trouble over there. Him and Ace Bob Orton must have been into it. Anyway, probably along with Dusty Rhodes, one of the greatest talkers of all time. A great man. We'll miss him. There'll never be a replacement for him. I miss you, buddy. I'm not like you. I'm not one of you. I never played that game. I'm not a tough guy like you. But I'm sorry to see you go. Rest in peace, Roddy. All the family, I'm sorry for your loss. All his friends, sorry for your loss. But rest in peace, Roddy Pipper. Bye.